amid the insanity that's ensued after the Cardinals' loss in Week 3 to San Francisco, I think we need to shift mentally about one thing. Let's give Marvin Harrison Jr. a little grace. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Listen, man, we're in the thick of it now. We are in the absolute thick of it. Thursday Night Football coming up. Crossover Thursday with Corbin Smith from Locked On Seahawks on Thursday. Got the squad show tonight. Special schedule this week because of the Thursday night game, and then obviously following the game Thursday. There's a couple things I want to discuss today. You know, the Marvin Harrison Jr. thing is troubling, sure, and I also think that we maybe should be looking at it a little bit differently. I'll discuss that. What's the offense going to look like post James Conner? Spoiler alert, first segment and second segment are going to coincide. And then is there going to be some sort of defensive mix-up to get Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Kenneth Walker, and now a healthy Zach Charbonnet off kilter? I'll discuss that in the final segment. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to run across the app. So, Marv, not fantastic start to the year. Had a good week one, had a touchdown. The last couple weeks haven't been fantastic. The looking over the first 20 games of his career, I guess 19 because he didn't really play in the Green Bay game because he went out with in concussion protocol. But still, but I think that if you take away the name and you take away where he was drafted, which is something that has expectations so astronomically high that he'll never be able to amount to what people are wanting him to amount to. And I know that's not necessarily fair. It's like, no, we just want him to be a wide receiver one. I get that. Okay. Completely understand. I think with all of the emotion going around with this team, with how they lost in week 3, how they played in weeks 1 and 2, especially offensively, and the target share to wide receivers being 32nd in the league, I think controlling what you can control here and give Marvin Harrison Jr. some grace is probably the best way to go about it instead of, wanting to exile him from the NFL. If you're a human being and you watched the post-game video where he was pretty much tearing up, it was the Cam Cox video where he was pretty much tearing up, he knows. He knows. This is adversity that he's never faced in his life. And I'm not saying, because his dad was in the NFL. I'm saying he's always been the best wide receiver. He's always been the best player on the field, offensive player, by and large, in his life. So I was thinking about what to do today, and I wanted to take just 7 or 8 minutes and just talk about the human side of it for a minute. We talk every day. And I feel like looking at a 23-year-old young man who's struggling, maybe give him a little bit of grace. Oh, he's an NFL player. He's making millions of dollars. His dad, who's picked 4th overall. The Cardinals should have picked somebody else. Just table it. Please. Let's table it. Just for a bit. And I'm going to give one number, and I don't know what it means yet. But his 9 touchdowns through 20 games are more than what Garrett Wilson had in his first 2 seasons. Chris Olave had 10 in his first 2 full seasons. Jackson Smith and Jigba had 9 in his first 2 full seasons, or 10. So I know Malik Neighbors has all the targets and all the catches and all the yards. And I think the same amount of touchdowns as Marv. Maybe one more, but they're right there. I know it, and I know it's difficult to watch. But Brian Thomas Jr. where has he been this year? The Giants are 3-20 since drafting Malik Neighbors. And I'm not like, I know we're talking about wide receiver in a vacuum, and it's impossible to compare him to others because the situation is different, even though people choose to do it in spots where it's like, oh, they should have drafted Malik Neighbors. Why do you think that would make a difference with what's going on now? This is where, and I talked about this on the Cardinal Squad show, I alluded to this yesterday a little bit too, the indictment surrounding Drew Petzing should directly be tied to Marvin Harrison Jr. The offense as a whole, if we're going to blame pie this, I put that on Kyler Murray. Kyler's played well this year, but he hasn't played well enough to elevate this team that an elite quarterback would do. I'm not saying he's elite. I'm saying we've seen elite traits at times from him. But the mission for Marvin Harrison Jr. from now until perpetuity, in perpetuity until things change, is just get the confidence back and get better every practice and every game. And I know this sounds very green ribbon-y, especially for a guy who was drafted where he was drafted, who went to Ohio State and had ridiculous numbers, even though it was just 1 year. He had a terrible quarterback the second year. But it's like, wide receivers starting slow in the NFL is not like an original story. I think it was somebody from the Revenge of the Birds, Andy, tweeted out, Devontae Adams had very slow start to the year. I know Devontae Adams was a second-round pick, but still, like, mentioning over and over, well, he was the 4th overall pick, he's supposed to do this. How does that help anything? What does that benefit? Marv has shown flashes of why he was taken number 4 overall. Maybe it's on Kyler. Maybe it's on Drew Petzing. I think it's more Petzing than the former. But we're in the first chapter of this young man's career. He's not going anywhere. So wrapping your arms around him and saying, you know what? I know it hasn't started great. I say last year was the worst version of a good rookie season. That's the worst it's going to be. It hasn't been great out the gate this year. But we, like, in this day and age, people are crowned so quickly, immediately. Oh, C.J. Stroud, top 5 quarterback because of 1 year, 2 years ago, and he struggled since. Oh, Jaden Daniels, top 5 quarterback. Why? 1 year? Brian Thomas Jr., 1 year, bad team. Malik Neighbors, 1 year, bad team. The Cardinals had close to the amount of wins that the Giants and Jaguars had combined last year. Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't drafted to save the offense. He was drafted to be a part of it. And now, as we pivot to the offense post James Conner next segment, this is one of my favorite movies ever, Van Wilder. Line, the actual serious line. Did you know that was written like with Burt Kreischer as the main character? Like, that was written after Burt's life? That's crazy. I didn't know that. I mean, I do now because I'm telling you, but I didn't know that, and now I do. And we're back. He says, you're waiting for your dare to be great situation. And if there was ever a time for Marvin Harrison Jr. to step up and be almost the wide receiver that everybody thought he could be after Ohio State and being drafted by the Cardinals, the rest of the season is it. This is it. James Conner's out. They need to throw the ball more. Trey Benson's going to be good. Like, I'm not saying that Trey Benson won't, but what a great opportunity for Marvin Harrison Jr. to grab control back of his narrative and not just be looked at completely preemptively as a bust, which is absolutely ridiculous at this point. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. What is the offense going to look like post James Conner? Discuss it next. This episode of Locked on Cardinals is brought to you by our dear friends over at 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade, man. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine on a premium. Like, put it this way. Each 2-ounce shot, it's like a 12-ounce cup of coffee. Plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Really good flavor, small shot, and you can just keep moving. Like, for me, if I could, it's like kind of the Jetsons thing. It's like, if I could just take a pill and that'd be my meal, great. Not like no. If you can get your caffeine, little shot, 2 ounces that tastes good, why would you not? You can just continue on your day. You don't have to sip 12 ounces of coffee or tea or whatever it is. It's fantastic, especially for people on the go. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in-store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. So here's the thing. First off, go to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Turn notifications on. You know the drill. We're in it, man. Season 9. Maybe I'm becoming a softie in my older age, but I think we get lost in the madness a lot. And that post-game video really hit me. Like, the pressure of the world is on this kid's shoulders. And if anybody comments, oh, his dad played in the NFL, you can do whatever. It's like, stop. Just stop talking about his dad. Stop talking about where he was drafted. Just stop. That already happened. Look towards what's happening and how it can get better. Please. This offense is going to look different without James Conner, obviously. What do I think the best course of action is? One of my biggest knocks on Drew Petzing's game plan last week, even though Jonathan Gannon said it was the best play calling he's had all year, which, listen, Marv catches that ball, Zay catches that ball, they win. Amari DiMercado catches that ball, they score a touchdown. Maybe we have a different conversation. But even though Kyler Murray threw the ball 35 times, I don't consider 3-yard passes a pass. They average less than 5 yards an attempt. That's not throwing the ball 35 times. It's not. I want to see more throwing the ball intermediate, throwing the ball with more than 5 air yards. That's the 0-1 jump. If you're going to throw the ball, throw the ball. I don't know if it's them telling Kyler to take the check down, or if it's the scheme, or if it's both because they don't trust Kyler. I don't think that this is that they don't trust Kyler Murray thing. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. This offense needs to be opened up. And Marvin Harrison Jr. is the key to that. And that's not some pronounced like, oh man, you should win the Pulitzer for that thought. How did I not think of that? How they use him needs to change. And I think that's pretty obvious. When they use him needs to change. And I think that's pretty obvious. What isn't obvious to them, though, seemingly, is get the ball to him early and often. Wide receiver screens, quick slants, quick little outs, whatever it is. I want to see 8 catches for however many yards. I don't care if it's 8 catches for 40 yards on Thursday. Get him the ball. That's the mission. That's Marv's mission. That should be Drew and Kyler Murray's mission. That's how you get this offense off the snide without James Conner. And again, I know this seems very clear, and they don't throw the ball to wide receivers a lot and all those things, and Marv should be the guy because he's the guy because his dad and 4th overall pick. They're missing the glaring start-off issue here is he's a non-factor during the first quarter of games. It's like, oh, you got to get Marv involved. Well, just do it immediately. I think that they're severely undervaluing in the pass game how good these wide receivers and tight ends are as blockers. I think they're severely missing it. Like, we see it in the run game. How they use Tip Ryman is fantastic. Why not have the first play of the game, Trey McBride, Tip Ryman, Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr. on the field? Student body left, in so many words. And get Marvin Harrison Jr. behind a couple of those guys so they can block for him. Just to see one go through the hoop, man. That's the mission. That's it. And I think the interesting part is what they're going to do with RB2. If it's going to be Amari DiMercato, I was the one that said Michael Carter. Like, I see more. Michael Carter could help this team more than Amari DiMercato can. And I understand Amari DiMercato is the third down blocking back. He's great in pass pro. That's fine. Use him just in those scenarios. I think Michael Carter, if they bring him back, could be a huge point. And I know that Zonovan Knight's there, but they got to figure out who RB2 is. But this really comes down to, as I was talking about initially, getting the ball in Kyler Murray's hands more and allowing him to make plays more, not just throwing the ball 3 yards and calling that a pass attempt. Unlocking that via Marvin Harrison Jr.'s usage will unlock Trey McBride to be able to get the ball more because he's rinse and repeat. But like when I see 35 pass attempts and then, Marv and Trey have like 8 combined receptions, that doesn't compute. Those aren't real pass attempts. So if you want to salvage this season offensively without having very, very, very serious conversations about staff and players, I think you just throw the book out and just get the ball into your best player's hands. And, what a novel concept. Get the ball into your best player's hands. It's not always that easy, especially if there's bracketed coverage on Trey McBride or Marv. I know that Malik Neighbors gets open. I know that Brian Thomas Jr. is fast and a great, go route guy, among other things. Like, we're not talking about them. We're talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. in this offense that's been bad the first 3 weeks, outside of a couple series against Carolina. Which now at this point with Carolina blanking Atlanta, that defense looked really good. They looked really good. So maybe, you give the Cardinals more of a benefit of the doubt than that. But still, 15 points against Arizona, or against San Francisco, which was really only 13 offensive points because of the safety. There's way too much talent on this offense to only put up 13 points. I don't care whose defense it is. Even with, Nick Bosa now out with an ACL. He got hurt early in the year. He got early in the game. Michael Williams, their first-round pick, was out and then came back in. Like, they were undermanned, and the Cardinals just couldn't get anything going. The only touchdown they did score was on a chunked pass interference call that got them the ball in the 1. Can't happen. Quick little note here, injury-wise. So Monday is kind of like a ghost practice day where they put out, on a short week, they put out an injury report for who would have practiced and who wouldn't have and who would have been limited. Paris Johnson Jr., Will Hernandez, limited, questionable to play Thursday. Jonathan Gannon said, it's going to be game time decision for the dudes who were out on Sunday. We'll see what happens with Will Johnson. The secondary looked okay, until Mac Jones was able to tear him up with Ricky Pearsall. We'll talk about the defense here in a sec. But Kelvin Beachum, if he starts again, left tackle, looked fine. The PFF numbers weren't fantastic, but he looked fine. More than serviceable. The offensive line played the best game of the year for them. So the offense post James Conner, to put kind of a button on this, you need to make an aggressively conscious effort to get the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. in the first series. A couple times. Just do it. Get the juices flowing. Get the momentum for him. This is a young man that needs some help. And the help that he can get and needs most, just get the ball in his hands early. And he'll be able to take care of the rest. The dude's an absolute talent. He's an absolute talent. And he's a year and 3 games into his NFL career. So let's maybe pump the brakes on. Oh, they should have tried to trade him. Shut up. Just let's give the kid the opportunity to show people that he is close to what people thought he was. Is there going to be some sort of defensive mix-up? Cardinals had good pressure on Mac Jones, but still wasn't able to get home as much as they probably should have with how much they were in the backfield. What is Nick Corrales going to do about it? We'll discuss it next. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. This episode of Locked on Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL's here, man. Appreciate football. We're going into week 4 already, and FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Once again, right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it's, it fits however you like to bet. You like to bet parlays, you like to bet futures, you like to bet anytime touchdowns, first touchdowns, somebody scored 2 touchdowns. Like people last night, if you had Mark Andrews to score 2 touchdowns, David Montgomery to score 2 touchdowns. If you parlay both of them, you win a whole bunch of cheese. So you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Check out the Cardinals squad show tonight, 6 o'clock Arizona time. Little weird schedule because the Cardinals play Thursday. Immediately following the game, I'll be going live for my instant reaction for about 15 minutes. And, then we'll do the Cardinals squad show after. It's just like, can the Cardinals play again on Thursday? Do you think it's a good thing that they're playing Thursday? It's like, okay, urgency is still here to not do what happened a couple days ago. Is that better, or do you think the full week, outside of like injuries and stuff like that, people being able to, rest up? Short weeks are always tough, but I feel like with it being fresh still in the minds of everybody of what happened, this is the best time to have a short week. I will do my full breakdown of the game tomorrow because we do have crossover Thursday with Corbin Smith from Locked On Seahawks on game day. The defensive mix-up. So what we saw from Nick Rallis on Sunday was more pressure than we had seen. Josh Sweat got another sack. Calais Campbell got the safety with the holding call in the end zone. Mac Wilson had an absolute day. He blew up Christian McCaffrey on the 4th down play call to stop, to solidify the goal to go stand by the Cardinals defense, which was fantastic. They had 4 safeties on the field at times, with Katana Crawford being the 4th. It'll be interesting to see if Will Johnson plays. I think if Will Johnson plays, you may see more 4-rush sets as opposed to bringing in situational pass rushers. But we did see Budda Baker and Mac Wilson blitzing. We know this, obviously, now that's one of Nick Rallis' best exotic blitz packages to send Budda and Mac together. Sam Darnold has a proclivity to turn the ball over when he gets pressured. What I think the mix-up should be for Thursday is set in the house. Not like cover 0 stuff where you're sending everybody. They've been running cover 4 more than any other base set, where it allows the safeties to be up more the line of scrimmage. And I know that's kind of what they love with Budda Baker and Adrian Taylor-Demerson too. Jalen Thompson. I think you're going to see that 3 safety set more and more. I feel like that's going to be a staple now, especially with Garrett Williams on IR. It'll be interesting to see if Will Johnson plays. Because if he does, I think the matchup will be different, especially because Jackson Smith-Njigba has been the best receiver in the NFL through him and Puka through 3 weeks. With the run game, Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker both, that worries me a little bit more than just Jackson Smith-Njigba. Because it can be death by 1,000 cuts, especially if Seattle goes up a little bit and they can just run the ball. The Cardinals' run defense was good last week, kind of broke down towards the tail end because, the defense can only do so much, man. Like, come on. On paper, the Seahawks offense is Jackson Smith-Njigba and 2 good running backs, and Cooper Kupp, who's always killed the Cardinals. Nick Rallis, above all else, needs to figure out the best sets for the most opportunity to turn the ball over. Cardinals still, they had 2 back-to-back against Carolina, which was fine. They had 1 last week with Adrian Taylor-Demerson that amounted to not much. There are turnovers to be had against the Seattle Seahawks. And with how tough the Cardinals offense has looked, getting them more opportunities via turnover obviously will do nothing but benefit this team. To say that I'm not worried about Thursday night would be a fib. I think the defense has shown that they're top 7 quality. They may need to be top 3 quality for the Cardinals to win games if they can't figure out the offense. And that may not even be enough. So Nick Rallis has his hand cut. He's got his hands cut out for him? No. He's got his work cut out for him. There she is. Just a lot. Like, okay, so that segment's over. I'm going to leave you with some parting thoughts here. Like, it's a lot of emotions and like content to mash together where there's a game 96 hours later for what happened on Sunday. You know? It's just a lot to comprehend. And there's no time to. Like, it's just move on. Here we go. Week 3, as if last week didn't even matter. Stick to the game plan. Change the game plan. Hopefully change the game plan offensively. But with Marv specifically, and I'm curious to see, leave comments about this. I'm curious to see about this specifically with Marv. I think grace is the way to go. In this social media, national media, podcast, radio, TV, whatever it is, world of just, you're either crowning them or you're exiling them immediately. Maybe don't. Let's see what the kids got. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you in the Cardinals Squad Show tonight at 6 o'clock Arizona time, and then tomorrow as always. Talk to you then.